the risk of another barb, I'm going to ask it anyway. Realize you said that when you're acting, you're thinking lunch, apple pie, but when you were in Time After Time, Mary, the scenes are, the chemistry is very tangible between the two of you. I mean, it's the first thing I noticed when I watched it. I mean, it seemed to be very visible.
You were watching two people falling in love.
Yeah. So you were thinking a little bit more about apple pie than you normally would.
I suppose you think that's funny, do you? Coming up with the funniest remark of the afternoon. Well, you're right. Of course, I was thinking how I was going to sneak off to see her that evening without anybody knowing. And there's a scene that we have in a restaurant that's revolving around San Francisco. And I did tell her just before we were going to do it. It was, we only had, I think, 3 hours to shoot the scene. We had to get out of the restaurant. So I just went up and whispered in her ear, "I love you." And I did, of course I did. Listen, you can't make this stuff up. Well, you can, but not if you're a gentleman. And I meant it, you know, and of course it's the reason that I became an American, you know, because I would have gone back to England and starred in some television the BBC were doing. Whatever it was, I can't remember now. It was a very famous one with Olivier and Jeremy Irons. What was it? What? No. God, if you're going to shout out, get it right. Jesus, I'm up here looking like an idiot. First stages of Alzheimer's, I can't remember a damn thing. No, it's one of those, you know, usual BBC actors made by Granada. You know, costume dramas with Jeremy Irons, the first thing he did. Very famous, they just made an awful film of it.
Brideshead Revisited.
Brideshead Revisited, thank you.
That's it.
Anyway, there you are. I would have gone back and been into stuff like that. Whatever, I don't know. But, so Mary really, because her career was budding and she was really just on the verge of making it big, and she went off to the next film she did after Time. She won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in Melbourne and Howard. She was fantastic in that film. And so, of course, then we had children, and we stayed, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's personal stuff, isn't it? Am I talking to you for? Yes.
So I must say,
shout, will you?
Yes, I'd be happy to.
Well, who are you fondling there? Your wife, is it? Yeah, right. Fine story. Yes?
Alluding to all the pieces of craft, I must say you bring a touch of classic taste to everything you've done today.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Alluding to that, I wonder if you might discuss a little bit of what
Talking of crap. Do answer the phone, please. Whose phone? Anybody? No, answer it. Let me talk to them. I'll have a talk. Okay. Thank you very much for interrupting. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Caligula. Oh, yeah! Just love that line. I was offered this film by Gore Vidal himself, who is a very respected man, of course, of letters, a brilliant writer, novelist, essayist, etc., and political pundit. Gore was, you know, he'd done this Fire of Breckenridge, which I don't know whether he liked it or not, or even saw it. It's sort of one of those films that disappeared rather quickly. And anyway, Gore's a very interesting guy, and he's very well respected, and he wanted to do this film of Caligula, and it's very well researched, all the rest of it. And what happened was, the financier of the film was this man, Bob Guccione. So I said, who is Bob Guccione, Gore? He said, well, just think of him as one of the Warner brothers. my sentiments entirely. He's a pornographer, of course. Dear old Bob. Anyway, he did pay for it. And of course he kept inserting, you know, he sent over Penthouse Pets to appear in it because he didn't think that the director had cast pretty enough women. You know, of course he cast real Romans. You know, not every woman in Rome was, you know, a penthouse pet, for Christ's sake, with fake tits. So of course, it was more Fellini-esque, you know, and anyway, so Guccione was strange, to say the least of it. Anyway, they added, you know, hardcore pornography 2 years later and all the rest of it. But I'll tell you, there is a funny story that I will tell you. And it does concern Gore Vidal. Now, Gore Vidal was one of the most important novelists in America. But he had a huge feud with, who was the other one?
Norman Mailer.
Mailer.
No, not the other one that they made the film about. Capote, Truman Capote, thank you. So, apparently, and this was well known, that there'd been this huge spat between Vidal and Truman Capote. And this thing had gone on for quite a while, and in fact, there'd been drinks thrown in their faces at a party or whatever it was. So, I mean, great, juicy stuff like that, you know, just to keep them from being bored with each other. So, the evening before I'm leaving for Rome for a year to shoot on this thing, I get a call from Gore Vidal, who's already in Rome. He said, Malcolm, listen, could you do me a favor? Would you mind going to the Connaught Hotel? And I forgot my laundry. And I'm like, is he fucking kidding? I'm packing for a year and he's worried about his laundry? I'm like, oh God, well yes, I'll rush over right now and see if I can get it for you. I put the phone down and went, I mean, is that ridiculous? I'm leaving at 7 o'clock the next morning, for God's sake. Anyway, I forgot all about it, naturally. We get to Rome, and there's Guccione and Gore to meet us. And so we're sitting in this huge, long, stretch limo that's only worthy of a Bob Guccione type. It's got 15 seats, you know the kind. And they sort of go round in a semicircle, you know. And Gore, as we're in a traffic jam, he said, oh, Malcolm, did you manage to pick up my laundry? And I said, I'm glad you asked me that question. I went to the Connaught Hotel, and I said to the concierge, I've come to pick up the laundry of the greatest living American writer. And they gave me this brown paper parcel, which I presumed was your laundry, and I took it under my arm, got into a cab, was on my way back to Notting Hill Gate when I just happened to glance down at the label, and it was Truman Capote's laundry. I said, what? Are you serious? They said, I'm sorry, Gore. Yes, I am serious. And I'll tell you one other thing. He wears boxers. Well, that's incredible. It's incredible. So we get to the hotel, and we're unpacking the luggage, and he came around to the back of the car, and he goes, that was a good one. Back to where we stopped. Yes.
It's not a very good question, but actually, I'm wondering where this is going.
Are we overcome with emotion, or have we got a couple?
It's not a very good question, but I was wondering, I know with The Shining, Kubrick had to, with Wendy's character, he had to scare the crap out of her to get her ready for her role. And I was wondering if you had anything like that for Clockwork Orange, or if there was anything that you did to get ready to play Alex.
Well, you know, we did so much pre-production on the film, you know, in terms of getting the look right, you know, the eyelash, the bowler, the white, the codpiece. fact, the whites were in the back of my car because I had my cricket gear with me. I was playing in a cricket match, a charity match, and I said to Stanley, I've got my whites here, I put those on, and then of course the cod piece for a cricketer is worn under the pants, so you don't be hitting the balls with a hard ball, you know. So he goes, that's great, wear it on the outside. And that's where the look actually came from. And, but I was a little freaked out because, you know, Kubrick never talked about the psychological effects of a character. You know, it was, I cast you, you know, I'm not Rada, I'm not telling you what to do. You know, that's why I cast you. That was his attitude. Which was fine with me because that meant I had a lot of latitude to do, you know, experiment, do certain things. So that was great. But to be honest with you, I gave the script to Lindsay Anderson to read. Because I wanted him to tell me, you know, give me the key to the character. So, you know, he read the script. I got a phone call and he said, well, I read that clockwork thing. You better come over. So I went over to his apartment and I went into his apartment and I was a little bit, you know, the first thing he said was, oh, thank God I don't have to direct this. God. Well, of course, it wasn't his kind of material, you know, and I said, well, look, I know that, Lindsay, but, you know, it's going to be fantastic. Kubrick is such a great man. He's, you know, he'll have such a vision about it, but what about this part? And he said, now this, he told me exactly how to play the part. And this is brilliant direction. Anyone who wants to be a director or is one, here is a piece of a gem of advice. He said to me, there's a shot in If when you open the doors of the gymnasium to be beaten, and you look at the prefect and you just smile. He said, that's how you play Alex. And he was absolutely right. And the first day I had my first day of shooting on Clockwork was me doing a scene in bed in the Ludovico Treatment Center when the, you know, very dykey looking nurse is giving me an injection in the arse. And, you know, I was doing other scenes and so I knew that, you know, I was going, whatever happened, I was just going to do that really cheeky smile. You know, that was the key to the character. So walking from one, you know, set to the other, we were shooting in a university, Bunwell University outside of London. And I'm coming down the corridor and I see the actress who's playing that nurse in the corridor with an orange and a syringe. And she is stabbing this orange. And as I go past, I noticed it, did a double take. And I go, oh, what's she doing? She's not going to stick me with that. And Sandy goes, yeah, I really want her to give you the injection. Joking, right? Surely you can get retractable needles. He goes, it's not the same. I want to see the liquid. I went, Stanley, because it's harmless. It's going to be diluted with distilled water, and it's going to be fine. I said, I don't know, Stan. I mean, I really don't know. And, you know, it was Madge Ryan, this actress. She was so nervous through the scene. We're doing the scene, the dialogue, and I could see she's shaking, trembling, sweating. I'm thinking, Christ almighty, she's going to stab me with a fucking needle. But I'm smiling. Because that's the way I'm playing the part. So it comes to me taking my pajamas on. I'm playing silly buggers. I stick my ass in, and she goes, whack. It goes, yes, up to the hilt. I looked at it, smiled. She started the dialogue. She was shaking. The thing was shaking. I was like, oh my God, she's got like palsy or something. She started started to ram this water in my ass so fast, a huge bubble appeared, and I got a cramp in my ass that sent me up to the ceiling of the room. And I went, holy God, we're not doing that again. It took an hour for this thing to disappear. It was the most horrible thing I never had. It was worse than the eye thing. Getting the clamps on the eyes, stretching the corneas, nothing compared to a huge bubble on the eyes. Yes.
I just want to say I'm a great fan of all your work, including Doomsday. You're awesome.
A man with obvious taste.
My question is, considering that a lot of your roles have been, you know, very deep, dramatic stuff, and you're naturally a very, very funny guy, if the opportunity ever presented itself, would you ever consider doing a full-blown comedy?
Mr. Magoo.
He said comedy, not tragedy. I believe that Entourage is a comedy. I could be wrong, but it does go under best comedy in whatever it is, whatever they do. And you know, when I was asked to do this show called Pearl on television. It was a sitcom with Rhea Perlman, who's brilliant and a very nice person. And the agent called me back and he said, well, they would like you, you know, but they want to know whether you can do comedy. And I said, well, you can send a message back to the writers and ask them whether they can write it. Because if they can write it, then I can do it. But you know, comedy is the hardest thing of all to do, pull off. But it's in the writing, not the delivery so much. But doing a comedy on film is extremely difficult because you don't have the live audience to give you